Hey guys, how you going? I hope you're all doing really well and welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to be discussing something that's been on my mind a lot recently, and that is there a right time to start a weight loss or a fitness journey? And if there is, how do we know that we've reached that point? Along with that, we're also going to be discussing some of the things that we tend to rely on that aren't always going to be beneficial in the long term. So things like extrinsic motivation and accountability. So we're going to be looking at both sides of the spectrum, but if you're in a position where you've either started out and failed, or you've had to stop, or you just struggle to get started, hopefully this video is going to help. Okay, so I'm going to start out nice and blunt with the main message of this video, and this is not only just coming from my personal experiences with my weight loss and fitness journey and also working with lots and lots of clients, but also from the comments and messages I received from you guys as well, that no amount of extrinsic motivation or paying for accountability or programs or waiting for the perfect time will make any difference in the long term until you are ready yourself. We have all been in a position where we have a particular goal in mind. So that might be a weight loss goal, it might be a fitness goal or a lifestyle goal. Whatever it might be, you have something in mind that you want to achieve, and you're very, very motivated when you see other people achieve it, or you have a conversation with somebody and they give you that little bit of pep in your step and a little bit of belief in yourself. And that is extrinsic motivation, a motivation from an external source that is temporary. We all experience this in all areas of our lives. You know, you listen to a podcast and that 20-minute podcast might be amazing and you feel super, super motivated for the next day. It might be a week. If you're lucky, it might even last a month. But eventually that motivation will fade, because motivation is never going to be there consistently. I always say this, that motivation is not something that can be relied upon. I often get messages saying, how can I stay motivated all the time? How do I stay motivated to reach my goals? And the answer is, you can't. There's not going to be motivation all the time. So what you really need to rely on is digging deep and finding a reason that's much more important so that you can remain consistent in working towards whatever goal you have. So as an example of relying on motivation, I'll give you one from my own personal experience. I remember prior to losing weight, I was always looking at different diets or different things I could do to lose weight because I didn't really know what I should be doing. And I remember speaking to somebody and they had been doing the juice shake diet thing, and I was super motivated because they had managed to lose a significant amount of weight in a couple of weeks. And of course I know now exactly why, and you shouldn't do these diets. However, I didn't know at the time, and I was so motivated by the fact that they had achieved that and I was going to do it myself. So I went out, I bought the shakes, I drank the shakes, I lost like a couple of kilos maybe at most, and then I lost all my motivation because I can't remember exactly what it was, but I probably had a bad day. I looked in the mirror and thought badly of myself, or maybe I had a bad day at work. Who knows? And it all went tumbling down because there wasn't a big enough reason. There was no real drive in me to just keep going. But as you guys know, years later, I did manage to lose weight in a very, very different and much healthier way. And all I can say is I remember the night before I decided I was going to lose weight that time, it was like someone had flipped a switch in my brain, and there was no longer a question in my mind that this is what was going to happen. I was going to strive for a healthy lifestyle. I didn't have to worry about being motivated. I didn't have to worry about having bad days. I didn't have to worry about exactly what I was doing, if it was right, if it was wrong, how long it was going to take me, the process, because I knew what I wanted, and that was I needed to live a healthier life because I wasn't happy and I wasn't healthy. Suddenly it was so important to me that no amount of motivation was going to change it, no amount of external criticism was going to change it, and no amount of doubt in my mind was going to change it. This is just what my life was now. Now that sounds kind of crazy, but it was so, so freeing, and suddenly it was like a weight had lifted off my shoulders. I didn't need to put so much energy into questioning what I was doing, whether thinking it was right or wrong, looking for constant motivation or accountability or support. It was just going to happen. And I see this now again and again with clients. There's always going to be a point where it is important enough for somebody to make a change, and you are there to support them and educate them and give them the tools to change, but they are the ones driving this forward. They are the ones waking up every morning and doing the work. work and putting the effort in, and that is what is going to get them where they want to go, because they have found something that's important enough for them to get there. There is a lot of other people who they like the idea, they might be externally motivated just temporarily, or they might just feel like they need the accountability, but there's not a good enough reason there yet to push them to achieve what they need to. We also see this time and time again in social settings. So we will all have had that friend who wants to constantly lose weight, or says that they need to go to the gym and get fit. It might be a family member who needs to lose weight and has tried many diets and not managed to stick to one. Or maybe you've got a partner who you worry about and you need to hopefully give them a little bit of help getting to where they need to go. And I get, again, these messages all the time: how can I help my family member lose weight? How can I convince somebody that they need to get fit because it's damaging their health? And the answer, unfortunately, and this has taken me a long time personally and as a coach to really understand, is that we can't help someone unless they want to help themselves. And again, that comes from having a reason themselves that's important enough to make the change, to make the commitment, because it really is a long-term commitment to a healthier lifestyle. It's not that it can't be enjoyable, it really can be, but it's daunting to a lot of people. There's a lack of education, there's a lot of fear of the unknown and fear of failure, which is a very real one, which I experience a lot as well. So unless somebody wants to help themselves, it's very rare that you'll be able to help them externally, and that also comes down to ourselves. Ultimately, no amount of pushing and prodding and convincing and motivating and trying to help out is really going to help unless they're ready, because it takes such a time commitment on their part, and ultimately it takes hard work. And if you've not got a real good reason for that hard work, it's going to be very hard to stay committed to that. If we can liken it to something that we can all relate to, let's liken it to jobs and money. So let's say we took somebody off the street who unfortunately had lost their job, but they had a decent amount of savings on the bank account, which would cover their rent and their food and their bills for a little while. There's probably not a huge motivation or driver to go out and have to find a new job in a tough job market. So they're going to be happy to sit and just relax at home, make the most of the time, and use the money in their bank account. But unfortunately, they'll get to a point where there's going to be a serious driver and motivator to have to go out and find work, because that money is going to run low. And suddenly the switch is flipped in their mind, and they will be motivated and committed to finding a job or creating a business so they have an income, because there's now a necessity for it to happen and we don't have the choice. And the same is said for fitness and weight loss. You always need to have that time where the switch flips and suddenly there is no other option for you anymore. So for some people, that might be a health related issue. It might be that, you know, I've had clients who've had a heart attack, and that has been the wake-up call that they needed. It might be a comment from a stranger on the street that's like, right, this is it, I'm changing now. It could just be something happening in your day-to-day life, but at one point it will be important enough for you to change it, and then there will be no other option, no other choice, and it will become a lot easier. So this might come across as a little bit harsh or a little bit negative, and I don't want it to come across that way, but what I'm trying to get across is that no amount of external motivation, no amount of paying for a personal trainer or for buying programs or for looking through hundreds of YouTube videos or asking people about their stories or how they did it is going to change anything unless you just take the first step yourself and have a big enough reason to do it. Because as soon as you have that reason, it doesn't matter, everything else is just white noise. Of course these things will help you, it's great to have external motivation, it's fantastic to have programs and personal trainers to keep you accountable if that's what's going to help. But until you have that driver reason, all those things are just not going to get you there in the long term. And that's what I want. I want you guys to invest your time and your money wisely in your own self. I know myself that until the point where I finally made that decision, it wouldn't have mattered if I'd had the best fitness program in the world, all the education in the world, the best personal trainer, whatever it might have been. None of that would have made a difference because I wasn't ready myself and I wasn't fully committed to it myself. So which meant I wouldn't have stayed motivated, committed, or even consistent at all in the long term. So let's go through ways that we can identify that perhaps we're just not quite ready and we just need to dig a little bit deeper and find that reason to start. And let me just add a note. not all of these are our fault. These are things that are very, very normal for human beings. And again, I don't want this video to come across as me being negative or too harsh, but it's just something that I see so often. And like I say, I don't want people to waste their time. I want them to get the most out of their lives and to enjoy everything that they're doing, which is why I'm trying to make this video. Firstly, over-analyzing, or my favorite word, analysis paralysis. I do this all the time. Having a plethora of choices and never being able to choose one. Having so much information at our disposal, so much information on the internet, and suddenly we're either overwhelmed with information or we just are paralyzed by just how many choices there are, and then deciding to use none of them. So we could spend hours, days, months choosing which exercise program might be right, which diet might be right, which trainer might be right, whatever it might be, and we do nothing, because we're so paralyzed by the amount of choice that we have. And these things extend well out of just health and fitness. I've been meaning to start a podcast for probably about 4 months, and initially it was, which program should I use? Which microphone should I buy? And then I recorded it, and then which editing software should I use? Which platform should I use to upload it? What should the artwork be? What should I call it? There's always a lot of choice. And we can often just spend all of our time basically procrastinating by analyzing all the different options and just never choosing one. Number 2 is overcomplicating everything, driving ourselves insane with all the nitty-gritty little details and forgetting the bigger picture, which just leads us to be overwhelmed, and again just means that we make no choice, we make no start, and we just are paralyzed in what we're doing. The other side of overcomplicating is just going all in and expecting ourselves to be able to commit to so much at once and change a lot in one go. So we might go from being sedentary and eating our normal diet, whatever that might be, to exercising 6 times a week for 1 to 2 hours a day, to reducing our calories to a meager amount and just eating absolutely nothing so we're starving, trying to do all the lifestyle and healthy things that we should be doing, like drinking lots of water, getting plenty of rest, journaling, etc, etc, the list goes on. You could drive yourself literally insane with the amount of things we're meant to do. Ultimately, we end up just getting either overwhelmed or just flat out exhausted, and it's not necessary. This leads on very nicely to the next one, which is waiting for perfection. Waiting for the perfect program, for the perfect time, the perfect situation, the perfect person, whatever it might be. I'm here to tell you, perfection does not exist in any way. There is no perfect program, there is no perfect diet, there is no perfect time. The perfect time is now. The perfect diet is one that's going to fit in with your lifestyle. Doesn't matter what somebody else is eating. If you find somebody who has your ideal body type aesthetically or the ideal fitness level and you try to emulate what they eat, it won't be the same for you because your body is different. So there is no perfect diet. There's no perfect exercise plan. You can literally do whatever you want. Again, the perfect exercise plan is one that you can stick to, that you're going to enjoy, and that you can just remain consistent in, and is actually going to see you progress in some way. That doesn't matter if that means you go for a run and you can run 50 meters. Maybe next week you'll be able to run 70 meters. That is progress. And essentially, if we can sum these up in one little nutshell, it would be the word procrastination. Procrastinating and putting things off because they're either too difficult, too confusing, not very enjoyable, or too complicated. Now, I am probably the master procrastinator. I am fantastic at procrastinating and putting things off because I overanalyze, I overcomplicate, and I wait for perfection. Or I'll do it and I won't think it's perfect, so I'll keep doing it. And of course, I never reach perfection. So I'm talking from experience here. But procrastination is a feedback loop. And so you think you don't want to do the task, so you find something else to do instead. That might be researching about how the best way to lose weight, or the best fitness program for you, or how to eat in a calorie deficit, or it literally could be how to start a business, whatever it might be. And so you find something else to do other than that task, which then leads to more procrastination. And suddenly it feels good that you're not doing that task. So procrastination suddenly becomes a positive, and you continue to do it, and around we go. All right, so those are some things that we might be doing that could help us identify that maybe we're not 100% find that reason to get started, but it doesn't mean that you can't start making small, sustainable and manageable changes to start working towards your goals. So how do we start? Well, firstly, to start, you've just got to start. As soon as you decide just to take one step forward, everything will start to build and get easier and easier. It will all start to fall into place. Right, firstly, we're going to simplify. It does not need to be complicated. For example, if you're looking for weight loss, you'll need to be in a calorie deficit, and that is as simple as it is. Now, I totally understand how confusing it can be. There is an overabundance of noise and information out there, and what diet you should eat, and what times you should eat, and what food groups, and how many calories you should be eating, and all this sort of stuff. And of course, it's great to understand that and learn that. But if it's putting you in a position where you are frozen into inaction because you can't take one step, you don't need to have it that complicated. You can simplify it down to literally just eating less than what you are currently eating. Just reduce how big your portion sizes are, or eat exactly the same but just cut out 1 or 2 snacks, or switch out your latte for a black coffee, or just anything. Just making a small reduction, a small change, but being consistent in what you do. Secondly, stop looking for perfection. It doesn't exist. I am not perfect. I don't know anyone who is perfect. I've not met anyone who's got a perfect training program, or a perfect lifestyle, or perfect levels of motivation, or anything like that. It just doesn't exist. We're all just here making mistakes and learning from them as we go. So do not look for perfection, and don't wait for the perfect time. The perfect time is now. Oh my gosh, it sounds so cheesy, but it really is now. Because the longer you wait, the longer you're just doing yourself a disservice. This one goes hand in hand with stop fearing failure and just accept it's going to happen. And this was a really hard one, and still is a hard one for me to accept and learn, because I'm a people pleaser, and I have a huge fear about letting people down, letting my family, my friends, my partner, my clients, and you guys down. So it's really hard to let go of that fear of failure, but ultimately we need to expect that we're going to fail. There's always going to be failure, and again, it's going to sound really cheesy, but it's at these times where we grow and develop, and we actually start to work our way towards learning the stuff that we've been spending so long trying to work out before we even started. No one really knows what they're doing, and you'd be very hard pushed to go out and find somebody who hasn't failed while working towards what they want to achieve. So just go out there, make mistakes, fall over, try and learn from them, and develop and grow as you go. This one's a little bit more actionable, but instead of focusing on the end goal, develop small habits which are going to help you work towards where you want to go. So small, achievable, and sustainable habits that are going to be working towards a specific goal. So again, if your overall goal is weight loss, you want to be in a calorie deficit. So you want to be looking at eating less, moving more, and staying consistent. Those are the 3 main things that you need to focus on. So making an effort to do more steps every single day. That's it. You don't need to give yourself a specific goal, just making an effort to walk more steps. It could be just having an extra litre of water every single day. It could be making an effort to eat more protein, whatever it might be, just small little changes that are super manageable. Ultimately, no amount of watching YouTube videos or talking to friends for motivation or reading information about exercise and fitness or whatever it might be is going to get you there until you are ready to start and you have found the real reason why you want to get where you want to go. So really dig deep and try to work out what that reason is, and simultaneously just make a start. Literally just take one step in the right direction. I really, really mean it. I want you to go out today and just do something that's going to help you towards where you want to go. Accept that you will fail, and that is completely fine, because that will help you learn and grow and develop over time, because I cannot count the amount of times I fail and continue to do so. But one thing is for sure, the only way to fail is to do nothing at all and to continue procrastinating, overcomplicating, overanalyzing, and just criticizing yourself. If you've got to this point in the video, then I hope this video has helped clarify where I'm really coming from. And as a coach, it's something that's just super, super apparent to me that no amount of extrinsic motivation and accountability will change something for someone until they're ready to change themselves. But once they are ready, the sky is literally the limit. Like when I have my clients and they are ready to change and they are committed to it, then we are all guns blazing and we are achieving amazing things. If you're interested in coaching, by the way, I do currently have an intake open for online coaching clients. I work with people with a variety of goals, from weight loss through to strength training and fitness goals, but we also spend a lot of time working on motivation and mindset and really education around nutrition and exercise. So if you're interested, you can head to my website. The link will be in the down bar as always, and you can apply through there. But otherwise, I want you to switch this video off now and go and do something that that's going to help you towards your goals or achieving the small healthy habits, and just that's going to make you feel better. All right, talking of perfection, there is a man outside my window blasting music from his bike, and I was waiting and waiting for him to leave, but he has not left yet. So this is going to be an imperfect ending to a video all about not waiting for perfection. So I'm so glad you guys watched this video. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, you can message me or comment down below. Head over to Instagram, chat to me over there. I love engaging with you guys and hearing all about your stories. Otherwise, thank you so much, and I hope you have an amazing day.
I look into your eyes, I see we're out of time.